I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands.
Welcome to Build an Iconic Life podcast. I'm your host, Chris Whitehead, and this podcast is dedicated to help you build a life with zero regrets by focusing on how you have everything you need to stand up, stand out, and live life on your terms. Let's dive right in. Hey everybody, we have a special guest in person this time, and we did an episode with her not too long ago, but we actually had an event last night, and Kaitlyn was the main presenter teaching people about social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, you name it, because she's in the trenches with people, with clients, helping them build their followings, helping them build their businesses to generate more revenue. And we had about 10 or 12 people here last night, and Kaitlyn presented and I presented, and I thought this would be a great time to have her on. So Kaitlyn, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me on in person. It's cool to be in your studio instead of over Zoom for once.
Yeah, I'm really glad you're here, and I'm really glad you took 13 hours to come down from Michigan and really, bless everybody here. Something that happened last night that was profound to me is that I got to see you begin. I got to see you really ramp up and try to figure this whole business thing out.
Yep.
And, you're doing hundreds of thousands of dollars now a year, and with the potential for a lot more coming really soon. What do you attribute going from having a job to being clueless, but you wanted to do it really badly, to like the success that you've had so quickly? Because what I was telling you when we were off air is like, you're doing this a lot faster than I did it. So what do you attribute that to?
The people I have in my circle. If I didn't have you and Thomas and Catherine and all these other people in my circle, I would not be where I am right now. I would probably be working at my 8,000th job or whatever, who knows? I went through so many jobs, who knows what I would have been doing at this point. So I definitely attribute it to surrounding myself with people who are where I want to be or have the same core values as me.
How did you, I know for me, the internet makes it easier, right? Because you can watch people and follow along, get the kind of gist of, what they're about. But how did you know to select this group of people? What was telling you that, these are the people that you should work with? Because everybody has a huge choice and everybody's promoting that they can help you do something. How'd you know the difference between shit and shinola,
At first I didn't. At first I ate every shit sandwich that was given to me. And I paid them a lot of shit. Right. But I started getting in tune with my gut feeling. I started getting in tune with my inner voice, which helped me distinguish those people, but also how those people showed up. So for you, for example, it wasn't like you were in my DMs going, "Hey Kaitlyn, you need to buy all my crap," right? Mm-hmm. You were just adding value. You were putting content out that was adding value. And then when I met you at in-person events, it was the same person. Go figure. Because it's so often you see someone online and then in person they're a jerk, or there's someone that they are not saying they are, right? And so really it was that authenticity piece. It was that you're the same person online and offline. And so the people that I've surrounded myself with very intentionally now are that way. They are the same person online, they're the same person offline, and they treat their family right, they treat their clients right, they treat people right. And so once I got clear on that, because I didn't know what that looked like at first, I had to get clear on exactly what that was. By getting clear on my core values, it was easier to find those people.
You went around to different events. We were, I was helping grow a pretty large organization, and there were a lot of coaches in there, and then they started holding their own events, and it wasn't just business, right? There was spiritual work, there was interpersonal work. How did you know the right sequencing? A lot of people that start a business, they go, "I need a business coach." They don't have the counterintuitive thought of oh, I have some stuff inside of me that's probably holding me back from even launching this thing correctly. How did you know that?
I didn't.
How'd you find out?
So how I found out is I fell flat on my face.
Yeah.
With the business side, and I went into victim mentality. I went, oh, woe is me, the world hates me, everything's against me, blah, 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 the sob story that people tell themselves. And it wasn't until I had a very clear choice after being kicked out of an organization of, okay, am I going to let this totally cripple me and this is where I'm going to stay and just let all die here, or am I going to find the people that will help my mindset get to a place that none of this will bother me?
So that's the question, like, right? So you have this, it's a calamity, right? Like you're building, and behind the scenes story, at least here, which is why we're still friends. You didn't do anything wrong.
Mm-mm.
But for whatever reason, people don't want you to be there. You probably had that experience before in your life. So it probably attacked you even deeper level.
Mm-hmm.
Yet that was the straw that broke the camel's back for you to go, I'm going to own all of this. I'm going to take it upon me.
Yeah, because I saw what the victim mentality was doing to me.
What was it doing to you?
I literally ate myself. Like, let's be real here, I gained 100 pounds in 6 months because I was doing the woe is me, and I was getting sick, I was having all these issues, and I was just it's all everybody else's fault. And then it was just kind of this epiphany after having a conversation with you, Catherine and Brooke, actually. We were all chatting because I was victim mentality hardcore, having a chat with you guys, and you guys basically were like, gave me this, like, it's not about you, this is them, and that you have to be the one to decide where you're going. And so from that conversation, I had to sit back and go, whoo, I'm in charge here. So that means that I'm the one doing all this stuff to myself, self-sabotaging myself with food, self-sabotaging myself with these stories, letting it eat me alive instead of taking action by making the choice that no matter what is done to me, that I still have control of me. I still have control of how I show up. I still have control of my core values. I still have control of the way I present myself. And then I went a step further and took it to, it's happening for me.
Mm-hmm.
Happening for me means that I don't understand what's going on yet. Like, I have no clue, but it's going to work out for my better good, better than I could ever imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, shifting from that mentality took coaches. It took me literally screaming at some people. Sorry, Catherine. And literally having to work through this victim mindset. And it wasn't an overnight process. Like, I'm still in it, but it's been like a year and a half of me just rewiring how I think.
And in that process, instead of you going back to what would be easy, which is go get a job, you decided, I'm going to continue to be an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah, because the thing is that I realized also I would not be hireable anymore.
You might tell people too much of the truth.
Yes. So, like, there was a very short little piece that was like, you know what, I could just probably go get a marketing job at a big corporation, not have all this headache, blah, blah, blah. But then, like, when I started looking into it, how things are going and stuff, they all just want the same thing. And I would have my big mouth open up, say something, get fired, and it would be over. And the reality was, too, is I knew I had, even through all this, I knew I had a bigger mission that was calling me. And that was helping business owners, helping people unmask their authentic selves and be comfortable online. And so I knew I couldn't do that from a job. I had to stick the course. As much as I threw my computer some days, threw my, everything at the wall and literally hid in my bed some days, I still made that choice that people are counting on me. I'm counting on me. And if I don't show up, like, there's no magic fairy that's going to do it for me.
I think it's a really beautiful mission because, everybody's on social media, and it seems like even people that aren't trying to make money with social media are competing on social media for the look at me, and we talk in inner circles about that's inauthentic, right?
Mm-hmm.
For you to help a faction of the public who has decided to take a huge risk on themselves and then say, hey, I can help you become more authentic, which is true because you're doing it for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? It really frustrates me when somebody reads a book and then they become an expert at it without practicing it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going away from that kind of world, especially people in your generation. Like, you're half my age. And close. And but especially in your generation, the difference because you've been on technology for so long that you can read a text message and understand tonality. You were talking about it last night, like even people's body posture, like the way they're standing. The need, you had a formula, and the formula was consistency,
reliability, and then
and intimacy equals trust.
Yep.
And trust is the last piece of like trust, which means people are interested in doing business with you. So you're committed to helping people with those three keys to build trust and just showing that for them or with them online, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a beautiful mission because I am one of those business owners, right? And you help me and you help put all this out here. I know how hard I work to share a message, but maybe I'm not great on camera. Maybe I'm not great behind the microphone. Maybe I'm not the greatest writer. Maybe I don't know how to explain all of it. And what we know about business owners is just because I'm the owner doesn't mean I own every job inside of my corporation, right?
Yeah.
I hire people at my level or above in that department so that we can be professional together. It would be horrible that I have this amazing course and I have this amazing ability to transform people's lives, but I suck at showing it online because I don't know how to be authentic because I'm following somebody else's formula, which I see a lot of people do, and get no results for all that effort. You're simply just helping people shine the light outward through their eyes. Is that part of what started, like that drum beat in you started kicking in? And you just like the Rocky Balboa song kind of thing. And you're like, I'm going to stand back up, dust myself off, and do what it takes to get this done.
Absolutely. It definitely ignited a bigger fire. Like there was a little spark and then it just kind of went poof. And from there, I mean, sometimes I still have moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I've been doing so much. But it's just looking back at that mission, looking back at the core values and why I'm doing it, it automatically fires me back up because it's like, it's not about me. It's about the bigger impact we're making on the world. Keep going, girl. Stop your excuses. Let's get going.
For me, I've been at business almost as long as you've been alive. God, I started really young, like 2, but for real, for me, along the way when I was tying the knot at the end of that rope, like, and there was nothing below that, so that's why I tied the knot. It's like I'm going to be here a while. God would send people.
Yes.
And I'd had a lot of transitory people in my life through my family, just relationships and marriages and things. And so you start loving on people and all of a sudden, I guess I'm not supposed to ever see you again. So bye, stepsister, that kind of thing. Right. Or stepdad or dad or mom or stepmom or whatever. And so I started to believe that the only person I could ever count on was me.
Yeah.
And kind of like you, what I would do is I would give people the shirt off my back. Unlike you, when they kept asking for everything and I'd finally given them everything but my toenails, that's when the Scorpio would come out in me and I would be like, you're done. And I'd ruin the relationship. And so it was a cycle. And what I realized is I just had trauma allowing people to actually love on me. And I was having the trauma of picking the wrong kind of people and expecting them to love on me. Like they never said that they would. I just kind of assumed if I give you some water and I need your cracker, it's okay. It's an even exchange, but I didn't ask for it. And what people would do is go, you rude person. And I'd be like, I've been giving to you for 10 months. I'm only asking for a fucking cracker. I had it all messed up. That's what I had seen. And then all of a sudden I get to the spot like where you were. And it's like, God just talks to the right people in the right way. Sometimes I don't think they even know that they're doing it when they're doing it, and they come in and they say the right thing, they call it the right time, they offer the right kind of help, something, And I've had it happen so many times that it makes it hard to forget the mission. It makes it hard to remember there's something much, much greater than making money at all of this, that humans are involved on the other end of this line. And then to watch whatever your gifts and your talents, gifts are what given to you, talents are what you develop. You watch those mature into something where you can actually help humanity out. It's the most fulfilling thing that I've ever, it's like addictive.
Yeah.
It's more addictive than any drug that I've ever had. It's more addictive than any relationship I've ever had. It's the true ability to believe that you're in service.
Yeah.
And that's what you said you found.
Yeah.
And you're just keeping it real now.
Yeah.
And the more real you keep it, what's starting to happen?
The more real people are showing up in my life, the more, I'm not tolerating the bull crap either. Like, I don't, when I see someone that is inauthentic, like, I'm not immediately like, oh, see ya, but I also keep a boundary.
Yeah.
There's a boundary. There's a wall up now to protect myself.
Yeah, because you're starting to fall in love with you.
Yeah.
Nobody, that was the craziest thing. Like, my mom and dad loved me tremendously, right? But as a young person, and because they were split and living away from one another, internally, I was always trying to, I think, put them back together. And even when I knew that wouldn't happen, I then was not part of something. I was always on the outside of something. I remember when I was 20, that was when my personal development journey began. And I mean, real slow. Like, I read the book, The Road Less Traveled by Scott Peck, MD, right? And that led to some thoughts. And that led to what if. And then I'm starting to mature and realize, oh, shit, I'm going to have to actually provide for me. Like, I barely feed myself if I don't walk to the dining hall, kind of
Yep.
like, I got to grow up quick. And so then I had my whole meltdown on having to be a grown-up. Been through that.
Oh.
And sometimes I still don't want to be a grown up. Like, now our kids are, in their the 21 and 20. And it's like, that you can't talk to me that way. You're not smart enough to talk to me that way. And I'm like, shit, they are smart enough to talk to me that way. Uh-oh, I got to grow up. But in that process of that personal development, it just started a heartbeat of what if. Mm-hmm. And what I found is the world fights against that what if. Mm-hmm. It wants to get back into your slot. You're not allowed to be here. And so there was a part of me that my self-image wasn't high enough that I was like, okay, you're right. But then there was this other part of me. It's like the two wolves. And the other one was like, well, then who are you going to be? Mm-hmm. What are you actually going to do? If you can't be this, if you can't do this. And it was all from that can't, won't, shouldn't. And then all of a sudden, through some of those readings and some of the thoughts and some of the really was opening back up a dialogue between me and my higher power. I didn't realize that energy exchange was taking place, and I started allowing love back in.
Yeah.
And as I started allowing love back in for myself, I started recognizing it. Like, I couldn't see when other people were doing it. I would just dismiss it immediately. Mm-hmm. To the point now where I see it and it's almost like, because I see that energy spreading around. And that's where I want to spend the rest of my life, is like what we're doing right now and what we did last night, and seeing other people. Like, you came down here as the guest speaker, and you're buying some of my clients or our client services, and it's like, I love you and appreciate you so much, because when you do that in the right circles, everyone continues to win. And me, I was talking about this in the last organization. I had the whole thing figured out about how client comes in. We teach them how to eventually speak on stage. We teach them how to build their social media. We teach them how to get their own group and audience. And then we all go around as teams, and the right people say, hey, I might need your group for a while. And they come join you, and they go, okay, thank you. But we're all feeding one another in-house. The powers that be at the time decided that, I guess, they didn't like that formula, even though that was the one they said we were supposed to do.
Funny how that works.
Yeah, but we're doing it here. Mm-hmm. And like you, that started over with like 2 or 3 people. Mm-hmm. It wasn't, I got thousands and we're going to make millions. No, it was actually suffrage, like huge suffrage. And what got burned into me was, God's got you on a mission, man. Every door you open is going to be the mission. Do you want to do it the right way, or do you want to do it bitching and complaining and having a shitty life?
Yeah.
And now that things are growing and now that people are having success, that's all I've ever wanted. Because as an entrepreneur for 26 years, like 20 of them were horrible. I never knew where the next paycheck was coming from. I was always worried about, could I pay the guys? Then I was like, how do we buy a house? And how do, like, all the things that normal people get to do. And I just watched them doing them. And I'm still here renting. I'm still here trying to figure out how to work for 4 months during the winter because nobody hires remodelers, in the winter. Then all of a sudden, even if money became a problem, money's no longer the problem because money was never the problem to begin with.
Funny how that works.
Right. And that's really your message is at the moment of truth, you chose you instead of moving backward.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to choose, do I want to go do what's going to be easy and comfortable, even though it would have been uncomfortable too, but do I choose to go back to who I was and be absolutely miserable because I was? Or do I choose to do what's fucking hard and pull my figurative balls up and do the work? And I chose the figurative balls.
Well, we all appreciate that you chose your figurative balls. I don't ever pull mine up. If you had them, that would hurt. But I do pull my pants up around them to secure them so I can go for a quick run. I understand completely. And Tom Keenan's going to hear this, and I'll never hear the end of it. But it's an inside joke. But I'm really proud of you, and that was what I saw in you. I don't know how I saw it, but I just think like knows like. And that's what Robin and I were talking about. We were up late last night because we got home late last night, and so our whole schedule, the cats, everything was like, so we didn't get to bed till like 1. But we remember awkward Kaitlyn in look like a prom dress, and no one's talking to you, and you knew that too. But you had the guts even then. And that makes me so proud because most people fight this fight and they pretend to be something and they never actually get vulnerable enough. And you were on this journey, just the people had to meet you. You had already taken it by making that decision. And I remember, dumb as a box of rocks, at 24 years old, I'm married. I have a secure job. And I go to my wife and I go, I'm going to start a business. And she goes, well, maybe you should keep the job at least part-time for insurance. And I said, well, it's too late. I've already quit. yeah, that's who I used to be. And
I did that to Scott, so it's okay.
But that was a decision. I was making a decision for me, for better or for worse, no matter what happens, Chris is choosing Chris.
Yeah.
I'm proud I've never quit on that because I've had many, many, many opportunities to. And so when I see other people that are willing to go in public, that's like the biggest fear that we have is being judged by other people. And we put ourselves out there knowing that it's going to happen, but knowing that it's happening for us. You just didn't have the languaging right, but you had the concept right.
Yeah.
And I saw it and I was like, I don't know, there's 2,000 other people here, so she probably won't fucking listen, but here's the truth. And a week later, you had changed. You had just needed somebody to give you a little bit. And then you started reaching out to the other people that would do that with you as well. And when the shit hit the fan, those people didn't leave you. Go fucking figure. And I think that's the thing that you needed to prove to you, that if you're willing to go down this hard ass road, that there is a reward, and it is the reward that you might not have even known you were looking for.
Yeah.
And that far surpasses money.
Yeah.
And what I've seen you do, especially as you've evolved, because like every new business owner, you're like, I'll help you, I'll help you, I'll help you, I'll help you. And it's like, no, they're not all ideal clients. You were having crazy shit happen. but you changed and you evolved. And we talk about it in our inner circles. It's like this 1% increase each day. Like, I don't have to win the whole war today.
Mm-hmm.
I have to put in the good fight and make sure I do one thing better today than I did yesterday. And then I'm going to lock that one in. I'm going to do one thing better the next day, and one thing and one thing and one thing. And even as I was telling somebody last night, he was like, you know, you got all these pillars. And he's like, I think on this financial pillar, I'm doing well. And on the health pillar, I'm doing well. But on this faith and this kind of like spending time with my girl and going out, I'm not doing as well. I'm like, you're not going to. The cool thing is you just get to recognize quickly that that one is not up to par. And so you take and you do 1%. I said, here's how you get back, man. What time do you wake up in the morning? Tell me what time. I said, set your alarm for 5 minutes sooner. Just get up and in those 5 minutes, spend time in gratitude.
Yeah.
That's the 1% change. We're not asking you to have 6-pack abs tomorrow. We're asking you to go for a walk.
Yeah.
Like we did yesterday. I was like, I need to get some exercise in. So we walked around the block a few times.
Yep.
And I think people, they look at this huge elephant and they're like, there's no way to eat it. And it's like, yeah, you start with a toenail, you start with a hair, you start with whatever, and you just never quit.
Yeah.
And eventually you get there. And then the next part is making the goal worthwhile for the effort that you're giving it.
Yeah.
Like, why would you stay small as a business owner knowing now what you have to do to be one?
Yeah, no no.
Right. It makes no sense to play beneath your level. And if you are at a level and you don't have enough, you now have the resources to go, where do I go find the education that I need for the next level? In my spirituality, in my fitness, in my financials, as well as in the circle of people that I want around me. And it's like, really, it's that simple? Yes. Wow. But I've been doing on and yes. But if you and you're doing it, you're starting to see success. You have an opportunity on the table right now that people would die for. Whether it happens or not, the fact that it's even showing up as an opportunity tells you that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
What are your short-term goals in the business? What is it that you want to accomplish this year in 2024?
So in 2024, we are going to go for, 800,000 from 300,000 last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is I'm going to take myself out of the day-to-day. That's the other thing is not having to micromanage. So we're hiring right now. We're finding the right people. And so that way I can concentrate on the overall vision as a visionary. I can concentrate on taking my people to make this mission bigger, because when you have your tribe and you have the right employees under you that believe in the mission and not just there for a paycheck, but when they actually believe, like, oh my gosh, this is the mission, and we move it to there, it's huge. So that's my biggest thing right now is we're just getting the systems and everything in place, and I'm just grateful for the opportunities that have shown themselves so far.
Yeah, I get it. I think that's actually your true gift. I don't think, I know your gift is as a visionary. So, did you ever take the test with Rasky? Like, are you a manifesting generator or a generator?
Manifesting generator.
Okay. I'm a generator, right? So that means I'm willing to go do all the work, right? And it just means I have capacity to work more than other people without breaking down. Like some people, they can't do that. It's just not the way they're genetically made. But what's weird is through all the personal development, I know how to manifest. I know how to take a thought, and that turned me into that visionary role. But for you, what I've seen, you can do the integrator part pretty easily, because I mean, most business owners have to start that way. You wouldn't have gotten to where you got to if you'd sucked. So it's not that you're a true visionary, but I think your calling, again, I know your calling is to like dream bigger.
100%.
And then bring people into that fold. I've just seen the way in which I've seen you pivot several times, and every time it starts creating until you choose to nope, that's not it. And you go, that's not it. And then you found this and you're like, that's it. I think that's really, really smart. And I think you're 28.
28.
Yeah. I think it's so friggin' cool that at 28 years old, you were able to gain super clarity on that and even realize it was a thing. So imagine this. I started a business at 24. At 28, I have employees, but I never considered that I would be coming out of the field. Who's going to tell them to wipe their butt? Who's going to tell them where to hammer the nail? Who's going to do those things? It wasn't until I started getting tired of that, the ceiling of like, if I'm in the field, we're never making enough money.
Yeah.
I have to hire more. I have to get multiple. Like, how am I going to do all that? How am I going to go sell? You were able to get that idea really quick because you were part of organizations that people had employees. They were teaching you about that, teaching you the mindset of being a business owner versus self-employed.
Yeah.
Because self-employed is, in my opinion, the most dangerous position on earth. Something happens to you, the income stops immediately.
Yeah. Well, I had a health scare and I had to tell someone like, hey, can you do this for me? Like, and that was a big realization too. Like, I believe, my gut, I had like a little tear in my gut. It was like early last year, and I was the sole person, and it was like, oh, I have to tell my clients I can't show up and then give them like a reimbursement on part of this, because you do what's right. Like my third core value is always get back up and make it right. So it's like, shit.
Right?
Damn it, why did
that one stings.
So then it was like, okay, there goes a couple thousand out the door to make that right, and now we have to figure out rent, whatever. And it was that realization that I can't do this alone. Like, if we're gonna grow this thing, I'm gonna need people. And so I have those people around me, and I have people that know things that I don't, like you, like Thomas, like Catherine. You guys each have specialties I don't. And so I know, like we talked about with this deal that is in the works, like I know, like once I get green light on that or anything, I'm gonna be like, hey Chris, guess
what?
Oh boy, let's go. We're about to go in the trenches real time.
Yep. If people would just give themselves permission to dream the big dream, like, what do you want? And I've been saying it for so many years, like, you don't know who you are and you don't know what you want, but you're mad that you're not getting it. What is it?
Yeah.
And so the clues are everywhere, especially like if you look at 80, 90-year-old people or quotes from supposedly people that are dead. I don't know if they said it or not, but it's like you chase after money your whole life to realize that it was not the thing that you wanted. The house is not the thing that you wanted. The fancy car is not the thing that you wanted. Time is the gift that doesn't have, there's no more of it for you. It's already set in stone. Your death date is already present. What are you going to do inside of that dash, right? Yeah. The day you're born, the day you die, what are you going to do inside of that dash, and to make that a meaningful experience? And you're doing it. You're doing every bit of it. And the most beautiful thing is you're doing it with integrity. You're not trying to talk yourself into something bigger. Even with this huge deal that's coming, instead of you acting like, oh my God, I'm going to sell them, like, no, I'm just going to tell them the truth. This is how we can start ramping that up. And you told me 50% say of upper management are saying, heck yeah, we want to use her. And the other people are like, oh, but she's not done this at this scale before. And your attitude toward it is what?
I don't care. Like, if it happens, awesome. We will go full blown. But the other thing is that I know that everything is going to happen exactly how it's supposed to happen. And the reality is I don't operate from a scarcity mindset. Because the thing is that I have a true belief in that everything happens for me. And so this is either, heck yeah, let's go to the races, or it's a affirmation that I'm on the right path, that I'm moving in the right direction. And the reality is I have so many other stones in the fire, because I don't just throw one ball and hope it sticks, spaghetti at the wall, right? I have so many different stones in the fire, from networking, from putting myself out there, even when I am not like on par, but also when I'm on par, and just continually showing up. People are seeing that and they're going, oh, what's going on over here? And so, what started out, like, even as my little mastermind I got going, like, what started out as one person, now we're at 21 people in that group.
Heck yeah.
And that's from showing up.
I remember the same for me. We were talking about it, I had the same decision to make. I go from being Mr. Popular, where everybody shakes my hand every 3 feet I walk, to getting mostly ghosted, right?
Yeah.
Could have gone back to New England custom remodeling. It was a thriving business. Easy, done it for 20 some plus years. I can build this thing, and I did because I needed to. But like you, I just kept showing up. I kept putting the stuff on. Well, you put my stuff online, but I kept making the content, putting the stuff online, letting people know about Iconic. And for a year, people were like, I don't know. Not everybody. I mean, we had people in there, but I don't know. Just kept doing the work, kept doing the work, kept doing the work, kept doing the work, kept doing the work. And now we have people that are going pop, 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 pop. And they're the right people. That was the question I asked you this morning when you first came to the studio. I was like, so what did you think about the people in the room? And you were like, dead on. And I'm like, that's what I'm proud about.
Yeah, the people in that room were exact representation of the mission you've been building, and I saw that immediately. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Like, it just made me so excited because I've been on this like journey with you and seeing it happen, and it's like, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it makes me really, really proud because I would love to claim ownership over that, but when your income drops as significantly as mine did because of where I put all my eggs in that other basket, who knows? Maybe God was the one that kept the people away until I committed on a new level again, because maybe I would have allowed a client to come in. I don't know. But what I am grateful about is that I kept preaching about core values. I mean, every meeting, every opportunity, it's this, it's this, it's this, it's this. This is who I am. This is what I want. This is who I want to work with, and did it unabashedly. Like, I'm not playing games. If you don't meet this criteria, I really don't want you in my circle.
Yeah.
And what I know, and this is for anyone that's growing something big. Everybody thinks that the person that starts it is the leader. They are, right? They're the visionary. They're the person that started dancing like a crazy fool on the hill. But it's that first person that comes down that starts trying to dance like them that gives everyone else permission
to dance.
And so the next step is a few more people show up, and that second person starts teaching them to emulate what the first person was doing. And then that gives everyone else permission to come and be a part of it. And that's in any kind of organization that you're in. Look, if you're struggling with your business, and especially with your personnel, it's because you don't have at least one other person where you're like this.
Yep.
You put two people together that are in agreement on core values, or and it really is core values, but just call it in agreement. That's a pretty strong bond, because God shows up. And the cool thing about that is when God shows up, that's that third string that creates a rope that's not easily broken.
Mm-hmm.
And you can accomplish anything. So if someone's struggling right now, it's with your personnel, it's most likely because you're trying to do it all by yourself.
Yep.
And that's what I hear you let go of.
Yeah.
How's that been?
It's been freeing, because it's like, oh, the reel's done. I don't have to go create 13 reels like all at once. I mean, I still am doing a lot, but the thing is that there's a relief in like, okay, like if I like couldn't get to this, it's still done. Like, we are good. And now, like, we just made a hire that's going to help with even more of the like that was an agency owner and like has all this experience, and so she's going to step in and help, and that's going to be that like, not like you talked about, where it's going to be that, because we have the alignment piece, so it's going to be that not of, okay, we're in alignment and we're going to grow this thing together. And so it's exciting because it's all coming together.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's the best feeling in the world when you hire someone and they exceed your expectation, because it's not normal. But really, a lot of people will hire at their level and below, unconsciously, because they feel threatened by anybody. Yeah, I did it for years. You have to pay 20% more, maybe even more than that, for grade A talent. But the output of grade A talent is 5 to 6 times that B player.
Absolutely.
And it makes it worthwhile. which only means one thing. You have to keep developing as the owner of something so that your ego doesn't get involved, so that you sabotage those people that are better than you, because the ego will do that. So you've put yourself in a position to always become the most excellent version of who you are. For one thing, that's your litmus for whether you grow or not.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Everybody knows you do social media. If they wanted to, well, you've already been on a podcast and we just did it virtually, but if people wanted to reach out to you, how would they find you?
Kaitlyn Young Official on a platform, or SM Doctor.
Any parting words? Anything you'd like to say?
Just stay real. Stay raw and real. Like, it doesn't serve to not.
That's cool. Well, everybody, you heard it straight from Kaitlyn's mouth. She is a 2.5-year business owner doing multiple six figures. She's already called out that she's going to do just below $1 million this year. I have a funny feeling that it's going to be well over $1 million this year. And she believes in keeping it raw and real. You do too. We'll see you in the trenches.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand.
Hey friend, if you enjoyed listening to this podcast, please leave a review and subscribe to catch future casts. If you really enjoyed this episode, make sure you share it so others can benefit from it as well. I'll see you in the trenches.
Try to catch me howling at the moon.